Our next guest is an introverted engineer who turned into an award-winning ethical sales trainer. He's appeared on the TV show Shark Tank and was able to secure 3 investors. Talking about Ryan Tuckwood, CEO of ISR Training. Thanks so much for your time, Ryan.
Thanks for having me, Aaron. Good to see you.
So talk to us about sales education and why it's so important to you.
For me, and you just alluded it to the fact in my intro there that sales is something that has got a stigma attached to it. It's got a bad connotation, which I think is maybe rightly or wrongly been earned over the years, but it's taken me from being that introverted engineer, hating networking, hating socializing, hating picking up the phone and following up, to understanding that there is a process behind it, there's a system. And for me, there's a lot of businesses out there in Australia. You guys know the numbers. 65% of businesses in Australia go under in the first 3 years, 95% in the first 5. It doesn't need to happen, and it's purely because they have an inability to articulate the value they offer effectively and efficiently. So for me, sales is one of the number 1 attributes we can all apply it.
You see, my theory on introverts when it comes to sales is you can actually make fantastic salespeople because many of the introverts I know, the reason they are introverted is they overthink every situation. And when it comes to sales, being able to try and guess the outcome of any situation that you've already thought of can actually help you.
Yeah, well, you've hit me on the head there. But for me, there's a fear that's associated with it. But over the years, I mean, I've been in the industry for a decade now and coached a magnitude of different people, over hundreds and hundreds of staff and over 5,000 clients. And the best salespeople that we've ever seen are historically female introverts, your S personality type, if you're in accordance with this. Yeah, time and time again. And that's what we really wanted to show when we created the business. Our whole methodology is based around Swish, selling with integrity and selling honestly, and showing that good people, not necessarily the extravagant extroverts that have got the gift of the gab or can sell ice to Eskimos, but good people can actually learn this skill and do right by people at the same time, you know?
Yeah, well, you're talking about being an ethical sales trainer. Talk to us about the ethical side of that.
Yeah, Swish was formulated based around me doing a lot of study over the years. I went from sleeping on a bathroom floor, having 31 cents to my name, hating sales, and then being thrust into learn this, watch this video, and all this regurgitated 1980s tips, tactics, and tools that were teaching me to lie, bully, and manipulate, and it just didn't sit well with me. And what I realized was we had it all wrong. We were so focused on trying to make a sale as opposed to trying to understand why people buy, and the 5 stages of human decision-making processes. Now, we know that human decisions, they do go through an order. So people think, firstly, why do I need to take action? What do I need to do? How am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? And who am I going to use? And the salespeople, the ones that have brought the bad name to the industry, historically are just so focused on making a sale as opposed to actually finding people's why.
It's interesting because historically entrepreneurs have always been able to succeed or fail on their ability to first identify a need within a large group of people that they can then create a business model to fill. Quite often when you think of bigger corporations that have been around for a long time that start heading south, it's because they've not adjusted to what people now want. They're sticking to what people used to want. And that's where the sales approach starts to become a little less ethical because they're hanging on to something that used to work. And the ground changes and shifts and moves without them even being aware that it's happened.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I talk about sales being a language. There's different sales languages, and we all have a sales language that we talk. And where people go wrong, and this is just that we haven't been trained a sophisticated way, is that we sell in a way that we like to buy. And you alluded to it earlier that I'm an overthinker, an overprocessor. I'm an engineer, so I like to sleep on things. I send documents and specifications, but not everybody likes to buy that way. So for the first couple of years of my sales career, I only had one style of selling. But what we need to understand is we need to communicate in a way that the other person sees value in their eyes, not our eyes. Yeah. And when you can do that, you will actually double, if not triple, your sales rate almost instantaneously. It's pretty quick.
So talk to us about the Swish methodology. What is it? I'd imagine it takes into account what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's more so based around buying behaviors than sales tactics. So it's truly trying to get to the root cause of what will inspire somebody to take action. So we don't want to convince someone to do anything. We don't want to manipulate. You don't even want to persuade anybody to your way of thinking. This is about inspiring somebody to take action intrinsically by allowing them to see something that they didn't even know existed. So one of my first sales coaches, the co-founder of this company, Jack, I always say he saw something in me that I didn't even see, and that is Swish. It's bringing out the best in somebody by being able to not be a counselor. I mean, there's a fine line here between actually being a counselor and being a salesperson, but there is a common thread there that we listen more than we speak. We truly ask what we call under the surface questions to get to the root cause of what will make somebody tick, as opposed to just asking surface based, what are you looking for? When do you want it? How much do you want to pay? Which is what most people do to get to the sale quickly.
Well, I was just going to ask you about the biggest sales mistakes that you see that people make in business. What are they?
Yeah. Easy one by far and away. Number one is they're going into an interaction trying to sell. So they've got a premeditated idea around what product or service they want to push. So I would say, and when we go into companies, you can see the sales managers' heads turn a little bit when I say this. Your job is not to make a sale. Your job is only to find out whether a sale should be made. And that really would epitomize everything about Swish. So going into the interaction, just to figure out, should I be making a presentation today or not? So that's the first one. The second one, I think I touched on it a minute ago, is not asking for the business because of fear. So people they don't know how to ask. Do you want to get started? How do we move forward? Is this something you could see yourself benefiting from? And then the third one is not communicating in a way that we see value. So not speaking the right sales language. That's huge.
I think that a lot of the feedback that I've heard from people who try and sell is that the salesperson came across not getting to the point. That they didn't know they were spending too much time trying to make friends, that they weren't actually getting to the point of the whole purpose of the conversation. So on the one hand, while you don't want to come across as selling, you also don't want to come across as looking like you're a bit muddled.
Yeah, it's a good point. What I would say there is rapport to one person is not rapport to another. So asking somebody about their friends, their family, their weekend, sport, to one personality type, one sales language is rapport, but to somebody else, you're actually wasting time and not getting to the point. So you've got to be very, very careful with that. And then to take that a step further, I also say you can friend zone your prospects. So you can friend zone them very quickly in a way that they feel very comfortable to say no to you and you feel very uncomfortable in asking for the business. So at some stage, we have to elegantly say, hey, let's just put my business hat back on for a second. Based around what you just said to me a moment ago, I think we might have a couple of options for you. So we've got to be elegant in how we do that.
All right. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.